How's it going, you wonderful people? It's Jay, and in today's video we're going to be celebrating 30 years of the power gobbling hero Kirby, with a little look at just how Kirby came to be. So sit back and enjoy a little Nintendo history. Nintendo have so many iconic and incredible gaming characters, from a pair of mushroom globbling plumbers to an incredible heroic hero of time, a space-age bounty hunter, to little monsters that you can keep in your pocket. So where does Kirby fit in to this puzzle? Over the years we've had many epic Kirby adventures, from humble origins on the Game Boy to unique 3D adventures, amazing golf and racing games to sequels woven in yarn. But let's take a little step back to the early 90s, where Nintendo were on the hunt for a brand new character to ride on the popularity of the Game Boy. The portable had launched to rave reviews, everybody loved Tetris, kids and adults were hooked onto Super Mario Land, so Nintendo really needed a new game to add to the mix. And it was down to Nintendo's close development partner HAL Laboratory to make something special, maybe even something that could really rival the jumping plumber. The brain behind the new concept was none other than Masahiro Sakurai, who you may know as the man behind the Super Smash Bros. Series. Sakurai started to work on the game and initially drew a placeholder character that was like a little circular blob, a kind of generic little placeholder, almost like a stick man that would move around the screen. The team called this little white circular blob Popopo. In an interview back in 2003, Sakurai recalled, "I needed a dummy character to represent what the real character would be doing in the game. I put a Kirby-shaped blob in my presentation as a placeholder, but everyone liked it so much we decided to keep it in the game without any major changes." With the character set and everyone loving their brand new mascot, what colour was Kirby even supposed to be? Nintendo already had reds and greens with the Mario series, they had oranges with the Metroid series, and we had greens with The Legend of Zelda, so what colour could Kirby be? Pink? Purple? Turquoise? Sakurai had always imagined Kirby to be pink, mirroring his original concept designs. However, Nintendo's Shigeru Miyamoto felt Kirby should be yellow instead. The battle on colour lasted so long that the Western release of the game had Kirby in white, mirroring that Game Boy screen, confusing things massively for a brand new audience and a brand new IP. Was this some sort of Casper the Friendly Ghost knockoff?
Gee, I don't want to scare people. I want to be friendly.
At one point, Kirby was even called Gasper. Would the name Popo resonate with the Western audience? Nintendo weren't really sure and needed to find a name that would have more universal appeal. Enter a lawyer called John Kirby. You probably kind of guessed where this is going now, but Kirby, the lawyer, represented Nintendo in the 80s, where Universal Studios had alleged that the hit arcade Nintendo game Donkey Kong had infringed on the King Kong concept. To be fair, it's really hard to imagine not being inspired by that film, but Nintendo actually won the lawsuit, and part of the name Kirby was a tribute to the lawyer. And speaking of Western audiences, ever wonder why the box arts differ ever so slightly? Beyond the original games, newer releases had that familiar pink Kirby, but with one very slight change. Japanese Kirby had a cheerful smile, buzzing with intrigue and adventure, whereas the westernized Kirby usually adopts the same pose, but it looks like someone's nicked his sandwich from the fridge. According to Nintendo, the marketing department felt that it really does play better to audiences outside Japan with a slightly grittier, darker, and tougher Kirby, you know what I mean? And interestingly, beyond the box art and the marketing materials actually in the games themselves, Kirby usually appears fairly neutral, and the main reason behind this is that Sakurai wanted players to kind of have that emotion rather than Kirby leading that emotion. In a Famitsu magazine column, he said, "Aside from the pictures on the box art and manual, Kirby's mouth is often just a dot within the game, not really happy or sad. That's because the role of Kirby himself is to serve as a cursor, kind of like an avatar that reflects the player's intentions as they go through the game." So let's talk mechanics. We've already had a space-age bounty hunter that can roll up into a ball, a sword-wielding elf, and a jumping bloke in overalls. So what could Sakurai and the team really do to make Kirby different and appeal to a wider audience? Why, fly, of course! Our hero could avoid obstacles by floating about, leading to brand new aerial gameplay ideas. It was introduced by Sakurai as a way for players to be able to escape tricky situations, as he really wasn't too fond of platformers where you'd fall into a pit and wouldn't be able to easily recover. We're looking at you, Mario! In an early Famitsu magazine column from 2003, Sakurai recalled, "When working on a Kirby game, I take special care to ensure that beginners can play too. Video games are different in a lot of ways, so I've always tried to make sure that Kirby titles can introduce as many people to gaming as possible." But what about those timeless copy abilities? The original game saw Kirby able to gobble up certain foes, but the idea to actually absorb those abilities only came into play a little later in the second game, the NES classic Kirby's Adventure. Released a year later in 1993, it followed a similar setup to the Game Boy debut, but introduced this new copy ability that's become a staple in the series. It was introduced as a way of making the game far more challenging and add a little bit of replay value, as the initial criticisms from the Game Boy game was that it was maybe a little bit too easy. Kirby games have been known to have explored recurring lore and have a kind of simple story, but where does our hero actually come from? His backstory was explored in the anime series Kirby Right Back At Ya, with Kirby being a star warrior that would have been destined to save Popstar from destruction. He was awakened a little bit too early, 200 years too early, in fact, and he was still trying to get control of his abilities. Interestingly, it was also implied that Kirby may have been created by an ancient evil called Nightmare, but refused to do his bidding. Beyond the TV show, there's also a whole manga series if you want to explore the Kirby origins and Kirby backstory in more depth. It's translated into English as the Kirby Manga Mania. And there we go, a little bit of backstory, a little bit of history as to how the incredible Kirby came to be. And even with all these incredible Nintendo characters and supporting characters, Kirby is usually the one that escapes danger and saves the day, as seen in Smash Bros. Ultimate. So are you a fan of the Kirby series? What are your favourite Kirby games? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments below and continue the conversation on our Discord. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button. If you want to see more geeky, more gaming, more Nintendo documentaries, be sure to subscribe. And before you drift off to the next video, be sure to check out our exclusive merch, geeky gaming designs voted for by you. Links are below. A huge thank you for your support. And there we go, 30 years of the incredible Kirby, and here's to another 30 years of Dreamland adventures. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.